Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. Today's video is a long overdue one. It's about Puzzle Masters Green. So, let's get into it. Puzzle Masters Green came out some time ago, so this isn't new to the game. And Puzzle Masters is a set that will be eternally standard, just like Origins. And there's a Puzzle Masters set for all of the colors and then also for colorless. However, one of those colors stands above all the others, and in my opinion, by quite a long shot, and that's green. Green's Puzzle Masters is, I think, the ultimate chase set in the game if you plan to play it long term and you plan on competing in standard events. You see, the thing about Puzzle Masters Green is that Puzzle Masters Green is just so good that it's what I base pretty much everything else that comes out into the game for standard on. I compare it to Puzzle Masters Green. So I determine, does this perform as well as Green does? Which means that for me personally, there's enough specific cards that are permanently standard in Green that I think will make it so that Green is always viable in standard, unless the game power creeps so far that we wind up getting these absurd Legacy-esque turn 1 decks in standard. So what makes Green so great? Well, there's a lot of cards in Puzzle Masters, and so chasing specific cards in Puzzle Masters can feel a bit daunting because you're going to have to spend a lot of mana crystals to get there. However, these cards, as they will always be standard, I think are very much worth your effort if you do not yet have them. There are 3 in particular that you really need to have for Green. The most important of those is Colony Garden, which is only a rare. Now, every time you pull one of these Puzzle Masters packs, they're going to be guaranteed non-duplicate packs, so at the very least, as you invest in this set, you'll wind up getting yourself closer to these specific chase cards that will really bolster your collection if you don't already have them. If you do already have them, you know what I'm talking about. You probably use them regularly. And if you don't use them, it's because you either want to have a change of pace or you just have a slightly different playstyle. So, Colony Garden is an 11 mana support and has, when this support enters the board, Seed a gem. Seed is the improved green gem, and it's going to make it so that whenever that seed gem is destroyed, the player who destroys it gains 1 mana for each creature they control, including their reinforcements. It's also going to have, at the beginning of your turn, convert 3 gems to green, and then also, whenever you seed 1 or more gems, you're going to create a 5/5 elemental token. That 5/5 red-green elemental token is insane, especially because of how easy it's going to be for you to seed gems onto the battlefield. Now, the first thing that really stands out to me about this is that we have a permanent convert 3 gems to green. Most colors and most land cycles that we get wind up converting 2. Every so often we get something that's going to convert a little bit more than 2. Usually the cap is 3 with some special exceptions, but for the most part, 2 is what we get for all of our converters. So at the very least, we know that this is going to be a permanently standard gem converting land that'll be basically the best land in standard at all times, right? Or at the very least, tied for the best land in terms of conversion. But then it's also going to seed gems, and it's also going to make it so we get the elemental tokens. And it also only costs 11 mana, which really isn't that bad. And it has 3 shields, because a lot of our lands wind up coming in with 2. So this singular card is the complete package. Now, it is possible that they nerf this card at some point in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if these elemental tokens get nerfed to become the regular green 2/2 elemental tokens. And if that happens, I will personally be tremendously sad because I use this card a ton and it is an amazing card. But I do think that even if it did get nerfed into the ground like that it would still be a very viable strategy because you do wind up getting a lot of these tokens. It just wouldn't necessarily always be top meta. Now, the next card that's really important to go with this is one of the Mythics. It's another one of those lands. It's a 14 mana land and has, whenever you cast this card, the Dryad Arbor, you're going to destroy a seed gem. If you can't, seed 2 gems. Then, at the beginning of your turn, convert 3 gems to green, and when you make a green match, if it wasn't by swap, seed a gem. So, what this does is a whole bunch of things. One, if you play it, it's going to wind up giving you mana if you've already got seeded gems down. The garden is going to be making a whole bunch of elementals and reinforcements, which is going to increase the mana that you're going to be getting from seed gems. If you don't already have the seed gems down, then it's going to seed gems for you. It's got that passive convert 3 gems to green at the beginning of each of your turns, which is entirely massive. Now that shows us that green has 2 supports that convert 3 to green. If you've got both of them down, that's converting 6 to green. And it kind of just makes it so that you have this influx of mana that really isn't all that comparable for any other color in the game. You have a ton of it, you have it consistently, you're getting elemental tokens, you're getting loyalty, and of course with these seed gems, you're getting these even bigger boosts of mana because of the gardens. If that wasn't enough, because you're getting creature tokens down, it gives your opponents things to target with their spells in terms of their removal, and so they wind up removing your elementals instead of maybe more important things that you drop down. Or maybe your opponents will wind up destroying some of your other creatures because they're a higher rarity than your elementals, and then you get this huge stack of elementals down that kills your opponent. Either way, it's a win-win. Now, the bottom thing on this makes it even more crazy, especially with the Colony Garden, because whenever you make a green match, if it wasn't by swap, seed a gem. That means anytime these lands convert gems to green and it causes a match to happen, that's going to seed a gem. Anytime you play any other gem conversion spell or card, that's going to trigger a seed gem. Anytime you get some kind of cascade going and a green gem is matched, that is going to seed a gem. And so what winds up happening, especially because of how green works, with green having conversion in a lot of its cards, and set in, set out, we get cards that convert to green, you wind up getting a whole bunch of seed gems, you wind up getting a whole bunch of elementals, and so as a result, you wind up getting a ton of mana. So those two alone are just absolutely crazy together. They're kind of a perfect pairing, but then there was this decision to add something else to make it even more perfect, and that's yet another card from Puzzle Masters Green in the form of Nissa's Expedition. This is a 13 mana spell. It has Convoke 4, meaning that as you wind up having more creatures and reinforcements, the mana cost of this goes down by 4 to 9, and has pick one of the first 4 land cards from your library, fetch it, and give it full mana. Then your first creature gains Enchanted. When a player casts a card, you or your opponent seed a gem. At the beginning of your next turn, this creature loses Enchanted, and if you can't, you seed 2 gems. So this once again has a whole bunch of things to unpack that are really important. The first is that you get to pick either the Garden or the Arbor from your deck and just pull them and give them full mana. That alone makes this a very good card. But then it does more than that as well. It makes it so that if you have a creature down, then that creature is going to gain Enchanted, and it's going to make it so that whenever you or your opponent play a card during this turn and then the next turn for your opponent, you're going to wind up getting more seeded gems. Meaning that if you're running green gem conversion in your deck, your green gem conversion casts will seed gems, your green gem conversion matches will seed gems, and all of those are going to make elemental tokens from the Colony Gardens, which are then going to be targets for that Enchanted, which are going to be creatures on the battlefield for the Convoke from the Nissa's Expedition, and as a result, the 3 of them just work together to give you a level of consistency because you're able to fetch the ones you want, you're able to seed a bunch of gems, you're able to get creature tokens, and all of those are going to work together with all the abilities of the cards. And it makes it so that you can use that as a base to build pretty much any deck using green as a color, whether or not you're running mono green or green as a side color for other things to work. And so, at the end of the day, I think that these 3 cards, Dryad Arbor, Nissa's Expedition, and Colony Garden, form the best core in Standard moving forward. Now, the Green Puzzle Masters pack also comes with cards like Nissa's Revelation, which is going to draw you 5 cards and gain you 20 life, which is very important for your collection, amongst other things. If you're newer to the game, some of these other Green Puzzle Masters cards that you can pull from the pack are pretty good. Things like Sylvala, Heart of the Wilds is actually a very solid card until you get better creatures. Ultimately, the icing on the cake is going to be the Colony Garden, but nonetheless, this is just going to seed even more gems, it's going to give you a ton of mana through conversion, and it's going to be a very solid card to have in your collection. Nissa's Judgment is another one that's actually pretty decent for newer players because it gives you a form of removal, and because of the Convoke, it winds up getting cheaper, and it gives you a way of killing your opponent faster by giving your creatures a larger +X buff. I don't think that Nissa's Judgment is a very great card for players with more established collections, but at the very least for newer players, it is quite good. Now, there is also the Mox Emerald in this set, and you'll see that I have very little experience in this because you really don't need this Mox. This Mox is the least important of all the Moxes because while this gives full mana to one card potentially every turn, you're going to get way more than that from the Triumvirate of the Arbor, the Garden, and the Expedition. So I want to go ahead, show these cards in action. If you watch my channel at all, you've seen them probably like tens of times, if not hundreds of times, because I use them in almost all my decks. They're that good. So let's go ahead and check out some gameplay. All right, we've got Wind Grace into Jace. Well, that's going to be a fun combination. My opponent's going to be playing an absolutely ridiculous number of cards, so this will be a good opportunity for me to also see just how scary Jace is as a PvE opponent. So let's see what new Jace does to me. Well, that first play is not even remotely scary. And then I've got a Tempt with Discovery here in my hand. And unfortunately, that Tempt with Discovery is really not going to be going anywhere. It's probably not going to be cast soon just because I want to play my lands. But no, the game has decided that I'm going to Cascade and that I should play the Tempt with Discovery. So let's drop some things here. We want Tempt to give us the double explore if we can. So I'm going to go ahead and take the landfall, see if I can't Cascade into the green on top. Game says no. That's okay. I'll be able to play the Tempt this turn here. So let's go ahead and Tempt with Discovery and see what comes up from that. I'm going to want to hide that one down there. I will get 2 lands out of this. So here you're going to get to see the Dryad Arbors pop down. Ooh, good. Excellent draws here. So we're going to get Dryad Arbor going. It's going to start giving us just a little bit more mana, but at this point, my opponent is pretty doomed. And they're pretty doomed because I've got here this Nissa's Expedition. And this Nissa's Expedition is about to get me the Garden. And with the Garden, this will absolutely enable me to end this game pretty quickly. So you'll get to see the true might of the trees from this. So let's go ahead. Let's play Nissa's Expedition for the Garden. And then this is going to start the Elementals coming down. So right there, you'll see that I'm immediately getting 2 of those Elementals. And then my opponent is playing the Phyrexian Worm. Okay. That's just fine. We've got some really good stuff. Phyrexian Worm in the form of Jin Gataxius. Well, whatever. I'm not too worried about Jin. Oh my gosh. Another Tempt with Discovery. Okay. Well, let's just make things go crazy here, shall we? So for this, let's take the double Seed Gem here so that we just get a whole bunch of mana. I don't even need to worry about Jin's ward here. So we're going to draw a Darien. Cool. It means that this is only going to draw me 1 card with Discovery unless we keep popping more of these Wind Grace tokens. Either way, we're getting cards and mana, so I'm not going to complain at all. We get another Garden. Oh, that's big. All right, so this is going to get us a Vorinclex, which is going to be good. And then Tempt is going to go ahead and fill my hand again. You'll see that all of this conversion is causing more and more of these elemental tokens to come down because of the combination of the Dryad Arbor and the Garden. Here I get to fetch another Arbor. So that's gonna go ahead and possibly enable me to play both of the lands that Vorinclex is gonna fetch here. Let's see. I've got a lot of creatures down, right? I'm at 14, so this should generate 14 mana right here. Which it does, and then is it the Garden first or the other one first? It's the Garden first. Okay. Well, even still, this is definitely enough to win the game right here. Kaboom. That's it. So this particular deck I went for just so that you could just see the lands at work, right? You could just see that trifecta of cards working between Nissa, the Garden, and the Dryad Arbor. I have other decks where I absolutely break this seed interaction. You can see a whole bunch of them on my videos. Just like any green deck that I'm running this interaction because it's just that good. It's absolutely insane. So if you don't have these, definitely go and chase them. This game very much showcased how they work. But even though it showcased how they work, like, there's ways of breaking it even more. So, well, okay. Now I feel like I have to throw in a bonus match. I was going to be done. I swear I was going to be done. But now there's this. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to show you the ham version. Why not? Gauze is probably running something horrible. So let's have some fun. Let's play dinosaurs in some way, shape, or form. And let's show Gauze the Ren and Realm Breaker dinosaur experience. Here we go. We're going with this deck right over here. If you're curious, I'm running Galta, the Tortoise, and my good converters. So, alright guys, show me what you've got against what is, in my opinion, the best Planeswalker in the game. Well, this isn't fair. I've got a 5 match on the bottom into red, and I've got an Expedition, or I've got card draw in my hand as well. So let's see where this takes us. I've also got the Great Aurora for removal if I need it, and I've got another 5 match. Look at that. Sometimes the game just wants things to happen, you know? And in this case, the thing that the game wants to happen is me beating down on whatever this deck that Gauze is running. So Galta is going to go ahead and get me to my 3rd ability here already on turn 1. You'll see that I've got the Garden and the Tortoise going over here. And then this is just going to get silly real fast. Like real fast. So let's go ahead. Let's just keep everything that I've got. And then I actually want the Tortoise here. That might seem like a silly move to go for playing the Tortoise over the Galta. But the tortoise I want because I'm trying to showcase the lands, right? Like, I'm not trying to showcase Galta here. I'm trying to showcase my lands. And while I'm pretty sure no matter what I do, they'll wind up showcasing themselves because of how ridiculously broken they are, I still nonetheless have to try and protect that. All right, so we've given Gauze a 5 match at the bottom. So, oh, nope, not taking it. All right. I know that it's not actually Gauze playing this deck, that it's the AI playing the deck, but still. Here you're going to see the Dryad Arbor and the Garden working together to get me the elemental tokens again. So this is, oh gosh, we're getting a whole bunch of them. And yes, I know that they're breaking, but the Tortoise brings them back. Ren's 3rd ability brings them back. So the whole point of this deck is just to make things go crazy. All right, I'm going to get rid of my removal because it's pointless now. There's no reason for me to have the removal. We're going to go ahead and convert even more gems. We're going to get more of these little tokens. Okay, this is fair and balanced. Why not? Let's go ahead and draw cards first, shall we? The Expedition, sure. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's do the Expedition first so that we get double the seed gems, double the fun, double the destruction with double mint gum. All right, so we're going to get... We'll see how high the elemental stack gets this game. I'm going to guess that my elemental stack gets to somewhere in the 100 range. I think that's a pretty fair guess for this. So let's take a Garden. Garden is just going to seed bonus gems, so why not? We get another Galta in my hand, because of course I do. So, okay, let's see. This Galta is going to convert a whole bunch of gems. The question is just, does it get me to my 2nd Galta? Yep, it gets me the other Galta in my hand, because of course it does. So we're going to get more elemental tokens down. Here they come. We get a Tamio down, and here come the elementals. I'm not going to Aurora here. I got to be very careful not to do that. So here, we're not... Okay, so the Arbor died. The Arbor died to our conversion, but even though the Arbor died to the conversion, the elementals still made it to 85. And then that wins. So that's like the top meta deck, honestly, if you want to see a top meta version. The Wind Grace was just to show them off, but Gauze assisted me in wanting to show you guys what the rest of this looked like. I don't think I saw a card that Gauze played either, right? Gauze didn't play a card, did he? I don't think so. No? No? No, we didn't get to see any of Gauze's cards. Gauze, if you're watching this, let me know what deck you were playing. So, anyways... I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.